Hello everyone, I'm very glad to see you today. And indeed, we had a small break. So our previous webinar, we had it in June and now it's September. So the summer passed, but we worked hard and we have several interesting things in the pocket, and I'm going to tell you what we've developed and what you can expect this September. So let's start. So first of all, yes, UgCS 4.0 isn't better, but it has a lot of new cool things. And what I want to say is that this specific version, it was developed based on your recent feedback that we received in spring. So I hope that many of you will find a lot of useful things for your daily operations with drones. Of course, now, due to this COVID situation, many projects were postponed, but I hope that everything will unfreeze soon, and yeah, you will be able to test it with your drones on your real projects. Okay, so the first thing, and we added a new flexible telemetry dashboard. Why it can be useful? What we heard from you is that many of you use not only DJI drones, but also very sophisticated birds like this helicopter. And thanks for our friends from GeoInspect and Mandaryl work. They were the first who tried this software and gave us great feedback on that. And on the picture, the helicopter that they use, the Velas helicopter, it's Pixhawk based, and it has many subsystems which has to be monitored during the flight. And previously, in UgCS telemetry window, you had only two options. We had nice looking telemetry window with a few parameters, and also we had a full list of parameters, which of course very hard to use in the field because it was just a spreadsheet with two columns, like a parameter name, and it wasn't very useful. But for such complex birds, it's very important to control not only standard parameters for the drone like voltage, position, altitudes, attitude, but also like voltage of the second battery, current, RPMs, and many other things. And for such cases, we implemented this simple but still powerful telemetry dashboard. So here on the screen, on the left side, you can see the normal UgCS window. And on the right side, you can see a small window with widgets. And this dashboard, you can configure it on your own. So for example, you can output parameters which you want to see. Like in this case, we can see motor RPM, the voltage on the second battery, and the current. And also, as you can see, we can add additional widgets to this dashboard. You can also have several columns. So depending on the number of widgets, you configure it as you wish. You also can sort widgets as you wish. And also, these widgets have ranges for the values. So for example, if some value get gets out of a sudden rage, you will be notified with the color and with the sound. And of course, the layouts that you configure in this dashboard, they are memorized for the drone. So when you next time will start your software, then this you will get the same layout for this dashboard. So that's a small but very useful improvement. Let's go next. Few things about DJI drones. We received a lot of questions and requests to add normal support for RTK. So in this version, which is currently available as a beta on our website, we have support for RTK base stations, which can provide the corrections as an entry service. Of course, you can use just any base station and configure it to stream corrections to some intermediate service on the internet, and then configure our mobile application to consume this data and then retransmit it to the drone. So starting from today, Mtrip is available. Basically, it was implemented in the beginning of summer, but we realized that there are a lot of things to improve, and we got very useful feedback from our clients. And I want to say thank you for everyone who sent us their feedback. So, but now, in our opinion, now it's quite useful. So, specifically besides the correction stream transmission, we improved the RTK information window. And now you can see not just the basic parameters like the type of GPS, the status of the GPS like fix or float, and the status of the RTK data usage, but also coordinates of the aircraft itself, the base station coordinates, different parameters of antennas, and number of satellites visible by antenna. So you can find it in the mobile application, our mobile application for DJI. And I want to return back to the previous slide and cover a little bit the DRTK2 support, because again, we received a lot of requests for that. So we are working on this. DRTK is an RTK base station from DJI. So we are working on the support for this base station right now. So we are finalizing field tests. So we expect to make it available in September. So we will notify you separately when this feature will be available. Okay, next. One more thing about improvements for our DJI application for DJI. So as you might know, we have a desktop application, and because DJI drones, they provide only SDK for mobile devices, we need to have a mobile application. And previously, it was not very convenient to transfer. Previously, the mobile application served like a bridge for online transmission of the route from the laptop to the drone. And it was not very convenient to download, to send routes to mobile application and then take mobile application to the field without the laptop. So we made a first step toward the resolution of this issue, and we implemented a new approach for getting routes in the mobile application. So you still can send route from desktop application to DJI drone through the mobile application. But at the same time, in the mobile application, now you can just open the route from the connected laptop. So you just have an open item in your menu, and then you either can see the missions on the connected UgCS laptop, or you can select a previously saved route in the local storage of the mobile application. So I hope now it will be more convenient to take just a tablet PC or a phone to the field without a laptop. And what is important also is that together with the route, for example, when you save routes from the desktop application to mobile application in your office before leaving to the field, you store not only the trajectory for the drone, you also store the elevation information. So in the field, all the relative altitudes will be calculated properly. Next, now it's not about DJI. Now it's about this, I don't know if you can see this, about this bird, the Parrot anafi. In this beta version, we added the first experimental support for this drone. It becomes quite popular, and we see a lot of questions and requests when UgCS will support anafi. And in 4.0 we added this support. So we support, I think, all useful features which can be used to plan photogrammetry missions, corridor missions, facade inspections. So all the features of UgCS for 3D planning can be used for anafi. We also support camera actions. And we support video streaming from this drone. And thus you can not only see the preview from the drone camera and see where the drone is flying and where it looks, but where it looks, yeah. But you also can transmit the video from anafi to our command center solution. And because you use UgCS, you still can use other types of drones. So you can use anafi in the mixed fleets. So for example, you can have several DJI Mavics, you can have M202, M600, and at the same time you can use several Parrot anafi drones. That is the power of UgCS. That is how you can combine different drones and fly them in parallel, cover big areas, and use appropriate drone for different types of tasks. How the drone is connected to UgCS. This is a simple diagram. What you need to do, you need to connect the remote controller from anafi to your computer via USB. And that's it. We prepared instructions how to do that. You also will need to install a special driver for the USB connection. But after that, you will be able to send commands to the drone directly from UgCS, and also you will receive video feed from the drone to your laptop computer. Next, another component that appeared in UgCS 4.0. Previously, we were able to stream video only from DJI drones. I mean, to stream video, to preview video in mobile application and stream to our command center. But now you also can stream video from other types of drones. You can stream video from an AFI, or you can stream video from any drone which is equipped with just a separate video link connected to the computer via video capturing card, for example. So we have a separate component. It's a part of UgCS professional version, and we call it UgCS video transmitter. Just a desktop application. It will show you the video feed from connected video devices. And also you configure a retransmission of this video feed to our video server, which is part of a command center solution. So you can have, for example, several pilots in the field with professional versions, and you can have UgCS enterprise with video server in your headquarters, and you can gather all the video feeds from the drones working in the field. And these video feeds can be transmitted over like cellular networks or your private Wi-Fi or any network. So then, another question that we received very often, what are our plans for Autel Evo 2? What I can say right now is that we are working together with Autel for support. And I expect that later in September, we will release support also for this drone. How it will be implemented, I'll be able to tell a bit later. Most probably, the implementation at the very beginning will be the following. On UgCS side, we will prepare a route in KML format, which will contain all the information about the trajectory, all actions, speed, altitude, everything. And then this route will be imported to the application from Autel. Most probably that will be the first integration. So please watch our news, and we will definitely notify you when the support will be released. As usual, I want to point your attention to that we have several useful resources. Our YouTube channel, something that Sabine already mentioned in the very beginning of this webinar. We also have wiki pages with documentation for UgCS. You always can find useful information about latest features. And now I think that's all what I wanted to say for today, maybe except one thing, that next week we will have another webinar about our data analysis platform, Atlas. So please join this webinar if you have projects where you need to make object detection or territory segmentation or track construction site progress. So then next week there will be useful information for you. So now I think I can switch to Q&A questions and try to answer them. So 1 second. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have some loud ovations about the possibility to fly with UgCS without a laptop in the field. We have some questions, yes. So
Okay.
before we start, I wanted to just report. So all who participate in this webinar, who registered for this webinar, also wrote some questions already in the during the registration. Some of the questions are a little bit too complicated to answer now in the webinar. We will not take your time. We will post all the answers also in written form together with this video recording. So for today's news, there's a question about the telemetry window. Will it work with all DJI drones?
Yes, this window will work with DJI drones. Actually, all drones supported by UgCS can use this window. You can display telemetry, which is missing on our main telemetry screen, so you can configure your widgets as you want. I can answer several questions. I see 4 open questions, so I can just walk through the list and answer them right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So the question from Thomas, okay, some of my prospects report instability with DJI apps. UgCS seems fine and all works in Seems, but in tech real world, DJI apps often need restarting and resetting. Is UgCS 4 more stable when combined with DJI apps than UgCS 3? That's a great question, because we do our best always to make it as stable as possible, because the stability depends on 2 factors. So the ground station, the mobile application, it uses DJI SDK. So of course we'll fix our own bugs, and we try to make our code more stable, but we also depend on the internals of the DJI SDK, which is updated from time to time, and we have to update because they introduce new features. So we think that our next version is more stable than previous one. But of course, in reality, it always depends on the combination of a certain model of drone and a certain version of the firmware on a drone, and of course the version of the software. When we support our clients, we always, but like it's as any software developer, like we always, like any software developer, we recommend to update to the latest version. And yes, we hope that UgCS 4 will be more stable than the previous one. Another question from Thomas. I haven't used the SkyHub SDK that I downloaded last week. Is the SDK for SkyHub from UgCS different, and I should wait for that to come out? The SkyHub SDK will remain the same. So you can, meaning that there are no, so you shouldn't, with UgCS 4, you should not expect any significant breaking changes. But again, of course, and release schedules for UgCS and SkyHub SDK is different. So we do not release these parts in parallel. So we try to keep compatibility between these components. But again, as usual, please just keep track on the SkyHub updates. So when the SkyHub team will notify you about the updated version, then please just use the latest stable version. The question from Rolando, there is the option of using the software on iPad or cell phones, iOS. Yes, we have a version for Android and we have a version for iOS. iOS application is slightly behind the Android version. So please check the release notes for these versions because they are different. But yeah, for basic operations like flight planning and different types of missions, photogrammetry, corridor, facade scan, you can use iOS version. Question from Daniel. Video streaming support is included with the Pro version, but the video streaming transmission is only available in the enterprise version. Basically, the Pro version is a client to the enterprise version. Pro version is a fully functional ground control software. So you can use it in the field. You can use it for flight planning, and you can use it for video transmission to external, to UgCS enterprise. So when you need, for example, when you need to set up, I don't know, a command center. So you, for example, you have pilots in the field and you have video monitoring in your headquarters, then you can use enterprise version, which contains video server in your headquarters, and you can use Pro version in the field and configure a video streamer to send the video feed to your headquarters. This is how it looks like. Then what else? The question from Alex. How has UgCS worked with non-DJI products that use PX4? UgCS supports PX4. You can, if you are not confident about specific drone, of course, in case of PX4 drones, there is no single manufacturer for such drone. So you take a PX4 firmware for the autopilot, and then you can build any type of drone. We do have a normal support for PX4 copters and fixed wing drones. So if you are not confident whether our level of support is good for your system or not, you always can get a trial from our website and connect your drone, make test flights. So talk to our support if you have any specific questions, and then make a decision whether UgCS is good for you or not. But yeah, PX4 is supported. Question from Juan. Are you planning to introduce a network remote ID in close future version? If you mean the standard for remote ID, which is widely discussed now in the United States, then I would say that it's a little bit early to make any specific support. What we are thinking of right now is adding support to different airspace information providers or UTM providers. And because we see a demand for such thing to get airspace information directly in UgCS and also report drone position to to your local authorities if they selected any UTM provider, commercial UTM providers available on the market. So we are going to move in this direction. Regarding remote ID, no specific plans right now, but for example, if you have any case that you want to discuss with us, you always can send us a message and we'll be glad to talk to you separately. If you have any project which requires the usage of remote ID, or I don't know, so just get in touch with us. So I think we are. One more question from Kim. Is it possible to set the flight waypoints to keep 100% inside the planning polygon in the photogrammetry tool now? Yeah, that's a good question. Until now we had like a priority. We tried to capture all possible within the polygon, and sometimes that led to the waypoint staying outside of the polygon, but not in Photo 0. But in one of the next versions, we will add an option to always cut the trajectory lines so they stay within the polygon. So we will update you about that feature in one of our next releases. A question about the M600 Pro. If I lose the RC connection forever, will it return back to the home when battery reaches critical power if we choose continue for safe mode? Actually, you have different safety options for battery and for RC, so you can configure them separately. So on RC loss, you can have a separate failsafe. So I think that can solve your issue. Okay, seems like we have no more questions for today. So thank you very much for participating in our webinar. And yes, we are going to revitalize this tradition of having a webinar every week. Of course, we will cover very different topics about our different products, about our data analysis platform, about our industrial solutions. So please join us in next weeks. There will be a lot of interesting information. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Alexei. So, of course, again, we can't stress that enough. If